excellent artists. Today we're going to use a variety of lines to create our next project. All you're going to need is either a marker or crayon to start and some paper. Let's get started.
So today I'm going to show you how to draw a variety of lines. Variety means that they are not going to be all the same. They are going to be different. I will also teach you the names of these lines. The first line, I'm going to start with marker and show you how to do that. I will also show you how to do it with crayon. Either one is fine. So the first line I'm going to draw is called a horizontal line. Horizontal straight line, to be exact. Horizontal just means it's a line that goes from side to side, all the way across your paper. It refers to the direction. There are other kinds of horizontal lines. This one is a straight one. I am drawing a curved line. A curved line is a line that bends very smoothly with no points. Speaking of points, another kind of horizontal line you can do is a zigzag. Now, if you want to make your lines in different places on your paper, you can. If you'd rather have the zigzag clear up at the top, that's okay with me. A zigzag line is a line that is very pointed. It almost looks like the letter V or W, and it just keeps going and going, like sharp, sharp teeth. I'm going to show you a special kind of curved line, and that is the spiral. Now, a spiral is almost like I'm drawing a circle, but it just keeps going and going. Now, I don't want it to take over my paper, so I'll stop there. The bad thing about the spiral, it's not really bad, but the unfortunate thing right now is that it leaves all of this paper over here empty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a whole row, going to repeat that, and draw as many spirals as I need to finish off this part of the paper. And it's okay if they end up touching. All right, now you can also do some lines that are segmented. This one right here I like to call a broken line. A broken line means that it's a line that has been cut into many pieces. The kind of cool thing about broken lines is that you can bend broken lines, or you can make them zigzag, or even spiral if you want to. Now, all of these lines have been horizontal. They've gone from side to side all the way across my paper. I want to show you some other directions that lines can also take. They can take, one that I like a lot is called vertical. And vertical lines are nice tall lines. They remind me of the number 1 because they go from the top to the bottom. Now, I made mine kind of short. Some vertical lines can be really tall. These are short just so that I can fit them in between the other ones. All right, I'm going to do diagonal lines. Diagonal lines are lines that slant, almost like a slide, like you see on the playground. It leans a little bit to one side. You don't have to make all your diagonal lines going that way. You can also make them going other directions. For example, like this, diagonal leaning the other way. I'm starting to run out of room on my paper, which is good because my goal is to fill up this whole paper with a variety of lines. All right, so I can do something called a dotted line. A dot is just a mark. It's like how you start making a line. If I just start without dragging my marker or my crayon across the paper, a dot is just where you touch your paper. So this is a dotted line. This is a straight dotted line, but you could make it curvy or zigzaggy, or even vertical if you wanted to. All right, so once you get all of those lines drawn, If you've still got a little bit of room, you can make up some lines. And that's my favorite part because you can be kind of creative. Sometimes I'll do a combination. I'll start off horizontal, then I'll go vertical. Horizontal, vertical. Oh, this reminds me of a castle. The top of the castle where the bricks go up and down. So if you want, you could call that a castle line. It doesn't really have a name. You can do, let's see. There's a lot of blue down at the bottom here. What if I do a curve, different kind of curve line? I go like that and stop. Curve, stop. So boys and girls, without any scribbling, I want you to be very careful how you draw your lines. You can do the same thing with crayon. The only thing, if you're drawing with crayon, I'll show you in the back, is that you want to make sure that you are drawing your lines very dark, okay? So you would take your crayon, you choose your colors, you could do zigzag, you could do diagonal, you can do all the same lines until you get your paper full of a variety. Just make sure to push firmly with your crayon so the colors show up nice and bright. And the reason I want you to color them nice and bright, oops, I was pushing so firmly my crayon broke. You know, the nice thing about crayons, even if they break, you can still draw with them. Some of my best and my favorite crayons are broken crayons. No need to throw them away. If the piece gets too little, you might. You can also use the back side of it, right? So fill up the whole thing, whether you're using crayons or markers, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure you use a variety, don't repeat. Try to get all different lines. And once you've got that done, then you can take the crayons and you can start coloring in the empty places. So remember how we've talked about crayons and how to color neatly with them. We want to make sure that we are staying in the lines, and one way I do that is I don't want to cover up my marker or my crayon line. So sometimes if I'm using a different color, I will outline the area first before I start to fill in these places. And then if you can color all in the same direction, that might mean that you have to go kind of slow so you don't get out of the lines. It's nice to have that little line that I drew there first, because if I go a little, it's kind of helping me stay off of that zigzag line there. You get in the big open places, you can go faster. But notice how I slow down when I get close to this other color. So the idea here, boys and girls, is I want you to use your crayons, and I want you to fill this whole paper not only with a variety of lines, but also a variety of colors. The more colors that you use and switch, I think the more interesting it is for your viewers. All right, so I will finish coloring this, and then I will show you when it's all done. All right. One thing that's kind of nice with if you're using a different color that is lighter, like yellow, and coloring around something that is darker, like this purple, you don't always have to go around it because it won't cover up if you're using a darker color. But be careful, if you're using all crayons, it could cause the color to smear. We talked about that last time, the other day. If you do that, it might cause your colors to smudge together. So be careful of that. All right, now I have this colored in, and remember, if you're using crayon, you'd want to color it in the whole thing also. So now that I've got this colored in, I am going to show you how to make this into a fun little creature or a monster. So I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to take, another white piece of paper, and I am going to make some eyes. I'm going to fold that so I don't have to do this so many times. All right, I'm going to take you can do this with pencil, you can do this part with first if you'd like, or you can do it with marker or crayon. I'm going to draw some big circles. Maybe 2 of them. And right in the middle, I'm going to add some dots. Now, if you want your eyes to look like they're looking up, you would put the dots at the top. If you want it to look down, look at the bottom. That doesn't matter. So now, I don't think I need that whole piece of paper, so I'm going to unfold it. I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to carefully cut. Now, this is the first time we've done cutting this year. So when you're cutting, make sure to go slowly. Notice my thumb is in the small hole, and my other fingers are in the big hole. The thumb should always be on top, not sideways. And definitely not upside down. That's just not comfortable. Always look right at where your scissors are touching the paper. Now, this hand has a job too. This hand is holding the paper, but it's also kind of helping turn it. This hand's job is the only thing is to cut. So both hands have a job, and I'm going to go slow so I can stay right. Now see how this other hand is taking that paper and turning it. I would not be able to do as good of a job of cutting if I were not looking where I was cutting. Remember, it is important to go slowly so that your eyes can keep track of where you're cutting. All right, now if you'd rather make one big eye, or you'd like to make 3, you can. I'm going to get my glue stick. And I am going to glue these eyes on. Let me think about where I want it, where I think they would look good. Oh, I think it's too much the same here. I kind of like it right there. So when you use a glue stick, just twist a tiny bit. You don't want to put too much. You don't want to have the glue stick come out too far because that will waste my glue. Put glue on the back. Always with the lid right back on. And then press it down. Now I had some extra paper right here. I think this would be a great place to make my mouth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my black crayon or my marker. I'm going to draw a horizontal line and a curved line on the bottom. Now I think it would be kind of fun to have some teeth in my monster's mouth. So I'm going to draw some squares. And then I'm going to color around. I'm going to go slow. Now, if you just have scraps of white paper left over, you can do it that way. Let me show you another way you could do this, in case you don't want to color around the teeth. So if you like that idea, but you want to make it a little easier, you can make, I'll do it again, horizontal line with a nice big curve. If you make it too little, it's going to be hard to see. So instead, I could just color this whole thing black if I don't want any teeth. Or you can use some of your leftover scraps from cutting out, which is what I think I'm going to do. Cut this out. Remember, keep your eyes on where you're cutting. So I could go like, take these scraps and make sure we throw those away. You could just leave it black. Or you can take, before you throw away those scraps, I'll show you a little trick you can do. You can cut just out a little rectangle. Oh, that's a nice big tooth. I kind of like that. That makes me happy. So I'm going to add a little glue to the back of that. And put that on there. The neat thing about this too is you could use those leftover scraps if you've got any left. And you can, ooh, I kind of like it when it's tilted a little bit. You can maybe make some little horns on top if you've got enough left over. And glue those on as well. Make sure you pick up your mess when you're done, and make sure your name and code is on the back before leaving art today. All right, you guys have a great, be creative here, use a variety of colors and a variety of lines. We'll see you next time. Stay creative, bye.